friends. Hope you're doing well. Do you hear those sweet Zevia sounds? Hashtag Zevia. So, I want to try something new today. 2 new things. So first things, I want to talk about some stock stuff, some stonks. As second thing, I'm going to try to overlay audio over the video. So I'm going to start that now. It's video I made a long time ago of me counting some money. Because a bit ago I said I should make some sound videos where I talk and make sounds, and I figured if I do a stock talking video, then I could do counting money, because I still kind of want to do some more tests with a separate microphone. So there is a link in the description if you just want to see me counting money instead of hearing me talk about stocks, which may or may not be outdated by the time you watch this. Yeah, so I'm gonna put video somewhere of the money counting. Sound good? And it's gonna start right here, right now. Go. Okay. Anyway, so today I want to talk about Netflix, and what I think Netflix should do. So it's not so much stock talk as like Netflix in general. So if you don't follow the stock market, basically what happened, Netflix had an earnings call where they said for the first time in many years, they lost subscribers. They lost like 200,000 subscribers, and they were saying they expect to lose a lot more. And so the stock fell off a cliff. It's down like 30% in a single day, which is bonkers. That's really bad. And so the problem that I think Netflix has, as someone who really likes movies, who really likes TV shows, who likes making them, who likes getting involved with things, is that Netflix, it's not that Netflix is trying to bleed their subscribers, because recently Netflix is like, we're gonna crack down on household sharing, where like, if you live in a house and your kid lives somewhere else and you share one account, we're gonna X-day that. I think they can get away with that. I think they can get a lot of people to get new accounts. What they're doing wrong, that I think, is leading up to now, Netflix has had, it was kind of like the streaming service, like Hulu was there, but Hulu kind of sucked, and it had ads even when you were paying for it, which is stupid. And HBO is kind of getting going, and now you got Peacock, basically everybody has it. So everybody that had their AAA titles, their amazing titles, you have the Office, Parks and Rec, 30 Rock, they were leasing it out to Netflix for probably not that much money, realistically. And so you had comfort shows, you had background noise. People watched The Office kind of just on a loop because it just was in the background. They really weren't watching it. It was just there. It was just the sound. And when that went away, they lost their, that was what you call in the investing world a moat. It's the thing that protects you from going out of business. That was their moat, The Office. And so the problem that Netflix has is that they're spending all of their money creating new content, which is good. They need to build up their exclusive library very fast. The problem is they are not focusing on syndicatable TV shows, specifically ensemble sitcoms. Now, what I mean by an ensemble sitcom is it's a cast of many characters. So it's not, I'm trying to think of like a famous example. Like a famous example that everybody would know would be like Everybody Loves Raymond, where like that's still an ensemble cast, but it's kind of about Raymond. It's about Ray Romano. Or if you think of like The Mick, where it's like there's an ensemble, but it's really about Caitlin Olsen. So an ensemble sitcom would be more like Modern Family or Friends or Seinfeld or Brooklyn Nine-Nine or Parks and Rec or 30 Rock, The Good Place, to some extent, where you have a lot of cast and they all kind of have equal roles, they all kind of have equal storylines. And the beauty of that is you can pay them all a little less than if you have one big Ray Romano or one big Caitlin Olsen, who's kind of, you know, one big Miley Cyrus, you know, for the Disney people. That's kind of like, if that character left, that's it. You'd be done. The show's done. The show's over. You can't do Hannah Montana without Miley Cyrus. Although they did do Roseanne without Roseanne. That's kind of funny. But what they need to be focusing on is making ensemble sitcoms. And I think if they could get a couple hits, if they could get an Office or even a lower, you know, Parks and Rec, 30 Rock, something like that, if they could get 3, 4, 5 of those. I mean, obviously this is a 10-year roadmap, you know, with like 5 to 8 seasons that are like 20 plus episodes long that people treat like The Office and they just kind of get in there. I think they'll do a lot better, and then from there they can do what they're currently doing now. And this is the problem, is that they're focusing on films, and their films aren't bad, but they're not good because they're kind of following the Dwayne Johnson model, which is like, if you think of like any movie like The Rock is in, generally speaking, they're not amazing movies, but they're never bad movies. They're just, it's something to watch, and there's usually a couple stars in it. It's a very safe kind of movie, so they're just making these kind of mediocre films with big name actors, and they're paying way too much for them when they could take those budgets and probably make 2 or 3 seasons of an ensemble sitcom with nobodies, you know, or even like smaller celebrities. You know, you look at like Brooklyn Nine-Nine that has like an Andy Samberg. You know, you could get someone on that level, you know, somebody who was on SNL, has a track record, has a bit of a fan base. You get them in, and then you also surround them with some good folks. And, you know, I think if they could get that going and those exclusives, they'll be able to rebuild that moat, and they'll keep subscribers, and then they can go do their bullshit with like, oh, you need your own account, you know, the no sharing between households. Then I think they're able to bleed, because what Netflix does really well is they make stuff that's really good to watch once, usually. Because think of it like this, like even if they were making The Godfather, if they made a film that was Godfather caliber, or you know, Interstellar caliber, or I'm trying to think of like some big ones, or like Citizen Kane, or fucking God, what? Like, give me some good, you know, a Kubrick, any Kubrick film, realistically, except for Lolita. I didn't think that film was very good. Not because it's not a good film, but just it's not for me. I thought it was kind of boring and uninteresting. But that's neither here nor there. But if they made, you know, like, think of like your favorite cinema film that's like the best, like undisputed, amazing film. You know, whatever that is for you. How many times a year do you watch that? Like, once, maybe twice. You know, maybe if you're real, like, into it 4 or 5 times. Like, you're not watching Inglourious Bastards, or Drive, or, you know, Goodfellas, or The Departed. You're not watching that many times. But, like, that sitcom, that's comfort food, you're watching that a lot. And that's what they're not making, and that's what they need to be making. Because, like, Stranger Things is good, but you watch it once, you're not turning around and rewatching it. Like, maybe if you were really into it and you were, like, looking for all the Easter eggs, yeah, okay. But, like, you're not gonna The Office it. The people that watch The Office just watch that shit on a fucking loop. That's what Netflix needs. And the thing that I would really like to see them try, that nobody's doing, and this is like innovative. I don't think it's that innovative, but I think it would work very well, is you do anthology short film anthologies. So think Black Mirror, for example. Like, everything's kind of in one universe, and it's kind of a horror thriller sci-fi thing. You take that model and you just you ratchet it to like every genre. Westerns, great. War movies, great. Fucking sci-fi, great. You know, like the Star Wars, you know, Cineverse, you know, the Marvel Cineverse, all that stuff. You take that and you make short films. So think like Law and Order, for example, would be a really good example of this. Or again, Black Mirror, Law and Order, you know, court procedural drama. So what if you had Law and Order, you have anthologies, you give really good directors, really good writers, you let them make a script within the universe, you know, and you put one person in charge of that little universe, and you make like 10 to 60 minute short films, you know, and then that's the big key. I think they need to be different lengths to just really like, and so you get into, you know, if you're really into Law and Order, you know, then you just have all of a sudden, you know, and they drop 3-4 a month into those, each of these cineverses of, and then they figure out just kind of what does well. And it doesn't need to be horror. You know, you think of like your favorite stand-up comedian, like bring them in to write an episode of, you know, a comedy, and it's not really an episode, it's part of an anthology. And so it just has to operate within a world, within, you know, Kevin Smith's films are a really good example of this. Most of his films, not all of his films. But he calls it the View Askew universe, because his production company is called View Askew. And so imagine that, but on smaller levels. And what works with that is you're tapping these people that have ideas for films, little pieces, and you're putting them with, guy who always hits the microphone, jeez. You're putting them with competent film teams, and you're making something good. So now you're giving somebody who's like only ever been a stand-up comedian, you're taking their fan base and you're like, what ideas do you have? And you're meshing them with a competent team that can help flesh that out. And they start, you know, with a 10-minute, 15, 20-minute thing. And then if it's good, boom, you're taking people that have a proven track record of doing something well, and you're just kind of changing it a little bit. And then obviously you're taking directors. So think of like, what if Christopher Nolan directed a horror movie that was like 10 minutes long? Would it be amazing or would it be shitty? I don't know, but I do know if Tenet, this last movie Tenet, was like 20 minutes long, it would have been a fucking great movie. But because it was like a thin premise that was stretched way too long, it sucked. So imagine, like Tenet, you know, like you could even genre bend. So you have like a Law and Order sort of universe, a procedural court universe, and then here comes like this, you know, a 24 meets, you know, like a anti-terrorism, and then there's just like a sci-fi angle, you know, that'd be great. And then there's like a comedy angle, you know, like wouldn't that be fucking great to watch? Like as long as the tone was still matched, like I think that'd be fucking amazing. So that's what I think. That's what I think Netflix should do. Netflix, if you're out there, let's talk. Like fuck, I don't need that much money. I just want to see good shit. You know, and I'm sure you're the same. You all just want to see good shit. So that's what I think Netflix should do. I know it's not really stock talk, but like it kind of is. But I'm still gonna call it in the title. I'll probably write like stock talk. You know, 01 or I don't know. I feel like I should start numbering my videos. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. That's what I got today. So I hope you're doing well. I hope this video finds you well, and if not, well, I hope that turns around for you real soon. And as always, thank you for watching. I probably, if it's stock talk, I probably should give my 2 cents. I think Netflix will continue to fall for a little bit, and then it'll slowly regain. I don't think they're gonna stay down. I think right now it's a fire sale. I think if you sold a put for like down 5% of what it is now, I think your put will probably end up in the money. But I think in 5 years you'll be glad you did it. So that would be my play if I had money. Of course, if you had the money to sell a put on Netflix right now, I think that's like 20 grand to do that. So that's a big chunk. Maybe buy 1 or 2 shares if you can afford it. idiot with a camera, and I know more about cameras than I do about stocks. But who knows anything about stocks? It's all fucking lottery. It's just nothing is tied to anything anymore. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.